Sports Dan. I'm J.W. Cox alongside Mary Peters. Good evening. Tonight, we'll go a little deeper inside some girls hockey programs in the area, plus go to the mat and look at a boys wrestling program with our coaches and captains features, Mary.
And also tonight, as always, we jump back into the highlights with a look at this past week's action, including a girls hockey showdown on the ice and a boys basketball throwdown at the Bengal Fieldhouse. But
first, we're going to start on the mat. With 4 dual wins since the first of the year, the Spring Lake Park Panthers wrestling squad could end the season conceivably at 7-4. Their first order of business, a home duel against the Park Center Pirates. Spring Lake Park hosting Park Center last week at home, and this was a matchup of a couple of squads that were looking to really put a positive spin on the middle of their season. It happened at the gym at Spring Lake Park as we go to the mat for the highlights. Brian Lopez wrestling at 113 for the Panthers in blue finds a quick pin in the second bout of the match to put the Panthers on the board. The match would be close through the early stages, each team taking 2 wins over the first 4 bouts. Next out, Riley Altenberg at 126 fought his way to a 5-0 decision over Park Center's Nikki Mazzucella. Mazzucella couldn't quite hold off Altenberg long enough as the 5-0, again, the 5-0 decision. With that victory, the Panthers held a 10-2 lead. After the Panthers and Isaiah Roos dropped a 6-5 decision at 132, Danny Klebeck had them back in positive territory with a 40-second pin over Sammy Fields.
I was trying to set up a shot, I just couldn't really do it, but then tried throwing a headlock and kind of just picked him up and put him to his back, and luckily I just got the pin.
That's Klebeck walking us through his win. At 145 against Robert Wynn, Samson Burke took 10 points for the Panthers with a pin. More from him on his victory in the second round.
You hit him with a shot, and usually hit him with a hard time. I didn't know one attack before either, so that was nice to do.
A pin by Schaefer Deno at 152 over Isaac Mansfield gave the Panthers the 3 straight wins. The pin for Deno took just 145 to accomplish. So looking for a 4th win in a row, the Panthers turned to Desmond Johnson at 160, provided with a 6-0 win by pin over Seth Carlson.
My main move is to get a leg right in, so I leg right, got a couple back points. Then it's his choice in the second. He chose neutral. And then I got him in the front head into a head and hold cradle, and then I pinned him with it.
The 4-bout run would end with a loss eventually at 170, but Tristan Weemus at 220 would get them back into the win column. After some early takedowns and near misses, Weemus stood down Tommy Newell with a 9-1 major decision to really take control of the match for Spring Lake Park. That would leave just one thing unsettled if you're following along at home. It's the 285 heavyweight division. Emmanuel Ibitoye for the Panthers taking on Francis Davies in the 5th minute. Ibitoye slips out of a near pin. Right there, able to get up and under, turns the tables instantly, hangs on with a pin of his own for a 6-5 win. Panthers 61-13 with the victory at the end of the night.
This week we were just working on getting conditioning down for sections. We wanted to keep going hard, have hard practices all week. Yeah, and just get prepared for sections.
I really need to develop my shot. Really just got to keep working on it all week, and hopefully I'll hit it on the guy against Irondale.
I pretty much just work on what I need to do. I don't really know my opponents. I just work me, and I'm a pretty good endurance wrestler, so all I plan on doing is going into a guy for 6 minutes and try and tire him out, and sometimes I catch a pin.
As you heard from the wrestlers after their victorious matchup against Park Center, Spring Lake Park, they mentioned there has Irondale coming up, plus Roseville area still on the schedule with just 6 more meets to go.
And then for Blaine has Champlin Park, and then they have a tournament with Coon Rapids, Elk River, Irondale, Malacca Faith Christian, Rosemount, and Andover coming up.
And finally, for the Centennial Cougars, the top-ranked wrestling squad in our area, 2 more matches to go. They have Andover and Chisago Lakes left. on their schedule. We mentioned Blaine off the top, or Mary did, and we got a little extra look at what the Bengals are doing behind the scenes wrestling-wise.
Yeah, the Bengals have the end of the season coming soon. They have 3 meets away from the end of their season. Though they have struggled at times this season, there have been positives throughout the year. Our coach and captain's team now gives us a close look at the Bengals program.
To be captain, it's an honor for me. I've had many great captains before, so I want to live up to the expectations and be a great team leader. I look to improve and grow the potential in everybody, especially the new and up-and-comers, because they're our future.
My personal goal is to help the team and help myself and just get better and hopefully make it to state this year. That'd be good. Just focus right now on the upcoming match.
Our biggest thing is that we try and train the whole athlete, and with wrestling being just some of what we focus on. And we use the sport of wrestling to train the whole student, and we look for them to be dominant on the mat, but to apply that hard work and ethics and character into their whole life. And so the big thing that we're preaching this year is intensity and integrity. And our philosophy and our feel is that if you do whatever you're doing, whether it be wrestling, whether it be your homework, whether it be your personal life, if you do those with intensity and integrity, you're going to be successful. So you work as hard as you can and you do things the right way, there's nothing you can't accomplish in life, and that's kind of our goal.
Well, the significance of me wrestling for Blaine is basically just it's a great program. Compared to the other programs, I think we're really a step ahead in leadership and companionship with the team and everything, so it's just great to be on this team.
Our goals for the season are to send at least 3 guys to state. With having sent 2 last year, we want to keep working to improve that, and the more we can get down there, the better, with that pretty much being the ultimate goal, is to someday take the team down to the state tournament.
Our goals are to be recognized as one of the best teams in our section. We have one of the toughest sections in the state, so we're gonna have to work hard, and that's what we're doing right now. Just looking to get our respect out there in the state.
I think you should come watch the Blaine Bengals wrestle, because we're a hard-working team. Doesn't matter who we're going against. Our goal is to push our opponents to the limit. Doesn't matter who they are, whether they're a state entrant team, a state entrant individual, or just somebody else. We want to push them. We want to try and break them, and so it's we're fun to watch because we get after it. We're a hard-working team that will push our opponent, and we're fun to watch too. We got some guys who are going to score some points, and we got a couple kids that'll put some highlights on. So if you come watch us, you're going to be entertained.
I think my position and role as captain is just to encourage those who have some difficulty or mistakes. Just give them positive reinforcement and help them to fall in love with the sport. It's very exciting. JV or varsity, 9th grade, doesn't matter. You're gonna see some great matches. It's been around since the beginning of the Olympics. You can carry this over. It's discipline, determination, respect, all great attributes that you need in life. So I think it's great to prepare you for the real world.
And now switching over to the ice, the Spring Lake Park girls hockey team has won 7 of their last 9 games, but they have been struggling to score consistently. So we'll take a look at their game from last night. So last night at Fogarty, the Panthers ran into one of the top scoring teams in the conference, the Irondale Knights. There was an early breakaway for the Knights to nearly make it a 1-0 lead. Sina Hansen hit the crossbar on the breakaway. Hansen had 1 goal and 1 assist for the game, and prior to last night, she had had 5 goals in the previous 2 games. Irondale scored the first goal of the game with 13:31 into the first period. Sina Hansen found Maddie Henges for her 26th goal of the season. Henges had 6 goals in the last 5 games and is tied for the leading goals with Hansen. The score stayed 1-0 throughout the second period. With less than 2 minutes to go, Caitlin Munson behind the net finds Maddie Waller to even the score. which is a Play of the Week nominee. Walrath had not scored since January 6th against Totino Grace, so this broke a 4-game goalless streak for her. 1-1 into the third, the Knights went to work quickly. From the high point, Madeline Rogue gathered the puck, then fired it home past Molly Senko for a 2-1 lead. Madeline Rogue had 1 goal for that game, and she is 5th on the team with goals, with 6 coming in. Just less than 15 seconds later, off the faceoff, the Knights again threatened. This time it is Hansen for the 2-goal lead, her 26th of the season. Finally, still 3-1 late in the third, Henges nets her second to put the game out of reach for the Panthers. The Irondale Knights came away with a 4-1 victory against the Panthers.
Really crucial part of the game too. I think after it, the game really turned around and it was a lot of fun.
It was definitely a game changer. The pace changed from their side to our side, and we definitely had the puck more. And it was just so much fun to see everyone just their moods lifted when we scored, and everyone was more pumped up, and we wanted to win that game.
And so coming up next for Spring Lake Park, they played Blaine. They lost 1-3. They beat Armstrong Cooper. They lost against Irondale. They have East Ridge and Totino Grace coming up next.
Meanwhile, for Blaine on the girls hockey side, off of 3 straight wins, just 2 more to go in the regular season. They'll take on 8th place Andover, and then a tough one out of conference to wrap things up with Minnetonka, first place in the Lake Conference. The Skippers with 19 wins. Presley Norby with 21 goals on the season.
And looking at Centennial girls hockey schedule, they have 4 wins in their last 4 wins in their last 4 games, 2 in overtime, 2-1. Their last game was against Elk River, where they won 2-1 in overtime, and their next game is at Champlin Park. And for the standings for the Girls Hockey Northwest Suburban Conference, Maple Grove comes in the top at 16-0. Centennial's right behind them at 13-3-1. Blaine is in 4th at 11-5-1, and Spring Lake Park is right in the middle at 8-8.
A lot of teams bunched up there in the upper half of the Northwest Suburban Conference for our girls hockey programs. You know, here at North Metro TV and specifically on Sports Den, we like the rivalries. We like to talk about them. None better, perhaps, this season than on the ice between the Centennial High School girls hockey team and the Blaine High School girls hockey team. 2 games, 1 win apiece, and each of them decided by just a single goal in those 2 rivalry matchups. Well, now our coach and captain's team is going to take us in depth into one of those programs to start things off. The Blaine Bengals. Our coaches and captains features continue here on North Metro TV and Sports Den.
Going well. Compared to last year, some might say we're not as successful in terms of wins, but to be honest, I think we're just getting on track, and our main focus is being the best that we can be towards the end of the season.
We're 12-7-1 right now. Defensively, we've been very good. We've given up 1 goal or less in 13 games. And we've only had 2 games where we've given up more than 2 goals.
I think our main goal this season is to make it to state, but we have little goals like playing as a team and winning a certain amount of games and just playing together.
We have a lot of leaders on our team. I mean, you don't need to have a C to be a leader. So, I mean, I think we have got over 20 captains on our team that just help lead the team.
We have a lot of young, exciting players to watch. To start with Paige Beebe, the forward for us. She would be your prototypical power forward. She's a big, strong kid. On defense, Emily Brown, she's already committed to the University of Minnesota as a sophomore. She's having an outstanding year for us. And then, other forwards, Courtney Moser, she's really coming on. Alyssa Woolens, senior, I think she's had her best season for us. Sarah Ganley, And our goaltender, Michaela Tilton, has been outstanding for us for 2 years in a row.
I'm a goalie, so my role is like keeping my team in the game and trying to do the best I can to help them throughout the whole game. I set a couple personal goals this season to let in less than 3 goals and just kind of just help my team make it through the game.
I try and on the bench keep everyone positive. Just anything that I can do personally to get my teammates the puck to try and put them in the net, or if I can put it in the net, then I'll do it. From the first time my skates hit the ice, I just fell in love with it. It's a stress reliever, and the girls and teammates make it all the more fun. And just coming to the rink after school every day, even if it was kind of a rough day with lots of homework, it just makes it all better.
I like hockey because I've been playing since I was 3, and it just kind of hit me, and I like being around the girls, and just they make my day a lot better.
We play an exciting brand of hockey. Like I said, our kids work really hard. You know, and a lot of people like the women's game better because it's not so physical and it's, you know, a little bit more, has to be more skill game. And a lot of people like that, and, you know, it's been pretty exciting hockey to watch.
People should come out and watch us because we have the intensity and we have the ability to be a really good team, and I think we can make it far this year.
We're fun to watch. We've got good puck movement, and we can put on a show.
Watch Sports 10. Go Bengals!
Go Bengals, go Panthers, go Cougars, and hopefully everyone gets a chance to watch all of this on Sports 10, the content that we put out there for the coaches and captain. That's one side of the rivalry that we've certainly had a lot of fun with this season. To catch the other side, go online, our YouTube page, also northmetrotv.com. That will be up there soon. Hopefully we get to that Centennial coaches and captains next week. We've had the team out and about putting that together, so we're not going to leave the opposite side of the rivalry out. The Centennial Cougars, Blaine Bengals, Mary, I mean, I know you've been on the sideline on a couple of those, but it's certainly been a fun rivalry this year. Both teams so close, as we saw in those standings.
Yeah, definitely. They're very close, lots of competition, lots of intensity, but still smiles.
Absolutely.
It's always fun.
Still smiles no matter what side of those games they've come out on those 2 one-goal games that we've talked about. On the boys' side, there's still plenty to shake out. The girls' side is coming down the stretch. And Mary, Centennial boys hockey, though, they've got quite a bit coming up.
Yeah, coming up, they have Elk River on Thursday, they have Champlin Park on Saturday, and then they have Irondale, which is 5th in the Northwest Suburban Conference West, coming up that following Tuesday.
The rivalry is just as hot between the boys as well. Blaine coming up. They've got Andover, Osseo, and Duluth East. They're off of a win against Irondale and a tie against Anoka. That one probably hurts them a little bit. Riley Tufte did have 2 goals in that 3-3 tie, but they've got the second place Orioles on the schedule and a top half team in Andover, 6th place, and then the independent, which is always tough, Duluth East.
Then taking a look at Spring Lake Park, they have their last game, they lost 5-6 in overtime to Armstrong Cooper. Next, they have Irondale on Thursday. They have Totino Grace, which is 1st in the Northwest Suburban Conference West on Saturday. And then they travel to Champlin Park on the following Tuesday.
We always give you some trivia. What do you got for us this week, Mary?
Yeah, so this week our trivia question is, who is the all-time leading scorer for Centennial girls basketball? So we will have the answer for that next week, and then we'll have the answer from last week on the other side of the break. So stick around.
Known for its vineyards and hilltop villages, Umbria is also known for its delicious tasting pizza. Made traditionally from the finest ingredients, Umbria Pizzeria will make you taste the difference, smell the love, and transport you to Italy.
La cena è pronta. Dinner's ready.
You might even begin to feel like an Italian.
Delicioso.
Umbria Pizzeria, turning taste into memories.
Coming back from break, I'm Mary Peters, and this is J.W. Cox. And for our trivia answer from last week, the question was, who has the most career wins for Spring Lake Park St. Anthony Village Wrestling? And the answer is Gary Retke.
Now, I'm sure that's the official answer, Mary, but at least one person would want to recount is our sometimes co-host here, Jeff Dinsmore. And Dr. Dredd, who Jeff attended Spring Lake Park High School, Dr. Dredd may have racked up a few wins, but we'll certainly go with Gary Retke at this point. From wrestling, which we started the program indoors, to the gym again for basketball, the Blaine Bengals boys basketball team struggled to start the month of January, but they still have time to put together a solid run towards the postseason. The biggest thing that the Bengals have going for them at this point is just how big a lineup that they could put out on the floor, and that certainly was on display when the Bengals took on Park Center last week. Early on, it was, could the Bengals run with Park Center? The fastest man, though, was wearing blue, and that was Zach Baker. Backdoor cut feed from Dakota Nepple helps himself to 2. Changed the cast as far as the feeder, but it's Baker again with the finish on the back door. This time he gets the feed from Scherer, who finishes it off, and Baker rather finishes it off. There would be some running for the Park Center Pirates. They can get up and down in transition. Monty Hooker with the steal gets it up to Brooks, who finished off the play. He led the game in scoring in the first half for the Pirates. Talked about the size. Well, how about down low and the block coming for Tim Leo to turn things in transition the other way? So they couldn't get it done inside. Pirates go outside instead. Brooks again knocks down the jumper. But it's not just the big guys in the middle that represent some of the size and length. Lawrence O'Doonty found that out. Byron Bynum with the big block at the end of the half made sure the Bengals would stay up at the half. Baker, second verse, same as the first, coming back in the second half, gets things started early. Bengals were up by 9, had a double-digit lead at one point, so they turn instead to Jared Call to get it back up to double figures. He delivers. Pirates still didn't go away, so this time they need to go to Dakota Nepple, the lefty, bang, and that finishes it off. It would get a little lopsided late with some transition defense. Sam Garrity with the lay-in finishes off the Bengal victory to get them the win. They backed up a couple together.
Work a lot, especially in the off-season, going against each other. It's kind of a privilege to have the ability to work with another host, especially a really good defender.
It's kind of, I don't know, it's become second nature, sort of. I mean, you just got to be aggressive, be able to give up your body a little bit.
Cut into the hoop, that was the main thing. Just making sure to cut after that pass, and just teammates were finding me. And that was the main thing.
Look at their schedule coming up. You see the win over Park Center. I mentioned they backed 2 wins up together. That included the win over Anoka. And they've got Centennial in the rivalry matchup coming up. Tyler Peterson, he has been tough this season. We'll see more from him as the show goes on.
Champlin has steamrolled to an 18-0 record on the strength of scoring over 85 points per game. Centennial started the game on a 5-0 run. JT Gibson hits the 3 for Champlin Park to give the Rebels the first lead as part of a 9-0 run. Champlin Park stretched the lead to as much as 11 in the first 8 minutes of the game. Centennial came storming back down 6 inside of 7:30 to play. Tyler Peterson with the bucket to pull Centennial back within 4. Instead of 4 minutes left in the half, Alex Faison nails a triple to make it a 3-point game. At the half, Cougars were down 37-31. Second half, JT Gibson came in again, caps off a 17-0 run to start the second half that put the nail in this one early. 22 points for Gibson at that point. The Cougars went over 9 minutes without a field goal. Peterson back to work in the line to finally get them a bucket. The deficit was still 24 at that point. Cougars tried to force the ball from Gibson, but there was too much help for him. There was great ball movement in the bucket. Champlin won 88-67 last night.
There's just too much for a lot of people to handle. 85 points a game for Champlin Park coming in, and they hang that score on Centennial as well. And that's the reason they're sitting atop the Northwest Suburban Conference, and that's the reason a lot of people have picked the Champlin Park Rebels to do more in postseason. You see the Rebels at 8-0 in the North. Centennial and Blaine sitting right there at 4-3, coming up right in the middle of the pack.
And then for the West, Maple Grove comes out on top at 7-0 in conference play and 16-3 overall. Armstrong follows close behind, and Spring Lake Park is at 2-5 and 5-14 overall, leading Totino Grace and Park Center.
Girls basketball still continues to come down the stretch as the girls of Spring Lake Park, Blaine, and Centennial Mary. That will be one of the sports actually that continues moving on. And Spring Lake Park has some games coming up against some big-time opponents.
Yeah, they have lost their last 2 games, but they have Champlin Park at home, which is 3rd in the Northwest Suburban Conference North. They travel to Irondale and then have Osseo at home, again, which is 3rd in the Northwest Suburban Conference West.
For the Blaine Bengals girls basketball team, they've got the victory over Anoka, the loss to Park Center in the rearview mirror. Centennial coming up. We'll have more on that. We'll be covering that game with the Cougars and the Bengals. But then 3rd place, 13-win Edina on the schedule, and they'll be at home against Roseville, which is the 1st place team in the Suburban East, led by Monica Burrich.
Then taking a look at the Centennial girls basketball schedule, they are coming off of a loss to Champlin Park, 50-53. Sarah Grow had 18 points. They traveled to Blaine on Friday, which is 5th in the Northwest Suburban Conference North. They also have Hopkins at home, which they're 1st in the Lake Division, and then they traveled to Andover, which is 1st in Northwest Suburban Conference North. So they have a tough schedule coming up.
Northwest Suburban Conference North is where the Cougars and the Bengals live, and both are next-door neighbors right now at 2 and 3 behind the top 3 teams, the Elks, the Huskies, and the Rebels of Champlin Park. The Elks and Huskies both 5-0.
Yeah, so Maple Grove leads at 5-0 in conference play. They're 12-5 overall. Spring Lake Park Panthers are at the bottom at 0-6 in the conference and 2-16 overall.
As for our upcoming schedules, you saw some of the games that we'll have. We'll go back to the rivalry on the hard court with Centennial and Blaine. That'll be the second order of business, rather. The first order of business is wrestling. The matchups we've got coming up here on North Metro TV as we have you covered. It's wrestling that actually comes up first. That will be Andover at Centennial. That will be on Thursday, starting live at 7. Centennial and Blaine girls basketball, Mary, will be the fun one as well at 7 o'clock. Plus, we have some adaptive floor hockey a week from Monday, and a fun one, girls basketball, Hopkins and Centennial, that we talked about as well. All coming up live here, 7 o'clock starts, and then adaptive floor hockey is going to start at 4:30. And it's time to honor one of our athletes of the week. And this week we go back to the Blaine Bengals, and a voice and a face that we've seen already, back to the coaches and captains from earlier in the show, and that's goalie Michaela Tilton. She is your athlete of the week for 2 games in which she allowed just a single goal. She had a shutout that came against Anoka last Saturday, stopped 35 of 36 shots over those 2 games. She has won her last 3 starts. And get this, Mary, if you remember in the coaches and captains, she mentioned she wanted to keep it under 3 goals a game. Well, in her last 8 games, she's allowed 8 goals. So she's right there well under her average. Congrats to Michaela Tilton, our player of the week. At this point, we also have some plays of the week, from the individual effort to maybe an individual effort or 2, and we spotlighted some of them throughout the program with what we had, and we count down the top 3 plays of the week. Starting with number 3, to the ice we go. Spring Lake Park Panthers from last night, they got their lone goal. Watch the dish from behind the net. It's Caitlin Monson, just a quick flick of the wrist and a touch, and she gets it to Maddie Walraff, who puts in the goal. 1, 2, back of the net. How do you do? And the Panthers score a goal. They eventually fall 4-1 in that game. Number 2 play of the week, we go back to late last week. This is one of my personal favorites. Byron Bynum in transition, and he gets out with the block. That's play number 2. But play number 1, we go to the wrestling match. You're going to see what makes this special, and it was that takedown right there to turn into the pin, as young Mr. Klebeck for the Panthers was able to assert his will on those plays of the week. If you see something out there in the games you're watching, maybe a game we don't cover, that should be nominated for a play of the week, certainly let us know. Again, visit northmetrotv.com to get all of the latest information about our coverage and the upcoming games. Mary, another fun week of games ahead. It's been fun looking back at these, and as we always say at the end of these shows, go Bengals, go Panthers, and go Cougars.
Yeah.
Have a good week, everybody.